from the Barletta team at Liggers, and I am here with the fabulous Jarvid Cortes. Hi, Jarvid.
Hi, Liz. Hi,
How are you?
everyone.
Hi, hi. Well, I am super excited to talk with you because I love you. Regardless of the interview, I just love talking to you. But I'm so excited to see have other people who don't necessarily know you or don't know as much about you to learn more. So just gonna get into a couple questions, and I'm excited. So first and foremost, I feel like, I know the story, but I think that not everyone does, about how you got into real estate and sort of your career, how it evolved into real estate. So if you want to go through like how you got to Keller Williams and Beverly, what was the journey?
So I think it was well, at first, thank you so much for taking the time to get to know about me a little bit more, and that I can share my story, and this is how I do it. But for me, it was a pivot moment in my life where I had to transition. I used to be a social worker for adoption and foster care, and there was a time in my life where I had to take a pause from working, and then I had to shift, and I was wondering, what am I going to do? I went to school to help families and see how I can help them move from point A to point B, and here I am. And it was Ken, who actually, my husband, who said, you should look into real estate. You're good at sales. You have a great sales background. And I'm like, no, I want to continue being a social worker. But then I looked more into it, and I started doing some research, and I fell in love with Keller Williams Realty, and what they were offering, and all the training. And to me, it felt right. It felt what I was looking for. So it started right there.
That's amazing. And I love that, because when I discovered that you were in social work before, especially helping families, it just like all clicked, because you're just the type of person who is a naturally caring person. And it's not a transaction and like, here you go, you're never going to see these people again. No, this is like a family kind of that you're growing and establishing a really important relationship. Like your clients, they want to talk to you forever. Like it's not this transaction and no, it's like, oh yeah, I talked to, this client from that we helped a couple years ago. And I'm like, wow, it's just, they're always wanting to stay in touch with you. And that's, evident with your background. So I thought that was such a cool surprise of what you had done in the past, but then it all made sense at the same time.
Yeah, I think that it does make sense, right? For me, it's going to be my 10th year this year. It's like a full circle moment, and I can see how that integrated very well with my real estate career. As you know, we do a lot of business with you. I love working with you. My clients love working with you. And I noticed that one of the things that I do well, because it comes naturally to me, is connect with my clients, follow up with them, be part of their lives. They'll call me if their flowers are not blossoming. They'll call me, right? And I want that. I want them
Yeah.
to call me so that I can say, okay, I have a gardener.
Yeah.
I'll go and see what's going on. So that's just the type of relationship that I get to build with them from day one. So they, like you said, it's not a transaction for me. It's like a friendship. It's like a partnership.
Yeah.
And I appreciate all of them. And I appreciate when we get the opportunity of you and I working together to help them buy or sell their properties.
For sure. It's awesome. And it's like, I feel like you are just like kind of a master connector, like some people, they again, they want to go from one transaction to the other, and they're like, okay, I don't remember their names. Like, you want to know their names, their birthday, like when they had a baby, like all the things, because again, it's just like part of your personality, and you just really care about like that relationship, which I think is awesome. And that's one of the things I love about working with you too. So coming in 10 years, which is crazy, because I still remember I was visiting the Keller Williams office in Beverly. You were a brand new agent, and you were training and all this, and I was just like, oh, this guy's awesome. And then, I mean, it's been 10 years that we've also been working together, which is insane. And so kind of like looking back at your career, like what has been maybe like the most kind of memorable, like a success story or a memorable achievement that you've had in the 10 years that you were like, wow, that was like a full circle moment?
Wow, that's a good question. I think that there's been many different pieces throughout my transactions that I try to learn and push and keep in my toolbox so I can continue moving forward. But I think that uh, being able to be that go-to agent when I hear clients that I've sold houses maybe three, four times that I thought it was just one transaction, or when I hear people calling me, hey, I heard that you work with so and so, and they want to work with me. I think that when that happens, that's the one thing that constantly reminds me of why do I love my job. I think that being able to do a good job and helping one family and then getting referrals from them is because you did a great job. Is because they enjoy working with you. It's because they trust you. So I think that seeing the amount of people and referrals that I get throughout the years from past clients is to me one of the wow moments in my career. Um, Definitely I help anybody, right? If you
Right.
don't have to be working anybody, but I'm just saying, to me it was a moment in my career that I noticed. And I was thinking the other day about something similar. And I said, this is what I feel that brings me the joy
Right.
of my career when I help families.
It's so true. For me too, like it, again, when you're at the beginning of your career, you're just kind of trying to grow and like learn and kind of put a name out there for yourself. And you start doing those little things that make you as like a career, like a business professional. But to see that reciprocation or like the clients coming back or the referrals from those past clients, like those are such validating moments because you're like, wow, like all those things that I like put out there are coming back.
Definitely. And, we do a lot of things to nurture those relationships. You and I, we've worked a lot with our clients. We do a lot of give Thanksgiving. We do give out turkeys every year. We enjoy that. And we've been doing that since, day one for me. We're in the industry. And I think that similar events and similar things is of like that is what people like to know. They like to know that they're working with an agent that they can trust, or that he's part of the community, or that he understands. So, there's a lot of different things. But for me, connecting with my clients and making sure that they call me if they need me to give them a diagnosis on their plans, I'm available for that as well.
So, what are the things like personally that you found have really been enriching in not only just your life, but I have something in mind that you're involved a lot in the sort of art community in Gloucester at this point, right?
What was
Um,
that? I'm sorry.
that in the art community in Gloucester, and like those are
Yes.
things that are like personal to you, but also are just great ways to network. What are some of those things? Maybe you want to talk about that.
Things that I network at that I like to be a part of is
Yeah,
like the Rocky Neck Art Colony, which is here in Gloucester. It's just the history of it, the history of the artists, the community, the people. So that to me is very important. I'm very passionate about that. Very hyper local. Try to and being the community that I know that I can fit and try to help as much as I can. Being part of anything that has to do with kids going back to school, kids and backpacks events. We do tons of events for that, and we partake in a lot of contribution with those, with different special organizations in Cambridge and Boston. So doing things like that allows me not only to enjoy part of what I used to do when I decided to go to school, which is a social worker, but also to still be part of the community and help, and I do it with love and passion. And I love that you're there with me as well. So we
yeah.
get to do it together.
It's always fun, always so fun. All right, so out of maybe thinking about like who's kind of inspired you in your life, is there someone or I don't know, an organization or like a person, either dead or alive, like that has been an inspiration to you getting to this point in your life?
So I love George Washington.
I
Like
love
I
that.
love George Washington.
I love that.
So he's a huge inspiration to me. I love history. Love I love the American history. I love history in general. But for whatever it was, his story, how he became president, and how he became our first president, and all the story behind it. And to me, that was very powerful. So this is where I work. I look at that painting, I get inspired. So things like that inspire me a lot. I think that also the culture in my company, Keller Williams Realty, our market center, they're very good in bringing a lot of information for us to have more knowledge, to understand what's happening in the market. And that's inspiring because it comes from people who have been doing this for many, many years, and they've seen the shift, they've seen the changes, and they're there to help you and push you. So
Yeah.
that inspires me for sure.
Yeah. Like that's the thing. We used to market and network a lot at your office just because there was just like a just sense of community. Like everybody had a focused goal and everybody was just so welcoming and wonderful. So it's no surprise that that's, where you found to be at home because it's a great, great organization and especially a market center. So are you a reader? Do you read a lot? Are you? Because
Actually, yes, and I just don't know the name. So talking about Keller Williams, this is a great segue. This is a
yes,
book that I got from my OP, and I started to read it again. Who Moved My Cheese? It's about changes, and I do try to read a book as much as I can. But what I do a lot is audiobooks because I
yes.
get to do it in the car. So I enjoy those a lot. I did Britney Spears recently, just to
I
let you
have to
know.
read it still.
Yes.
I still have to
So
read it.
I just finished the Britney Spears book, audiobook. So now I'm reading this one.
Awesome.
So far so good.
Nice.
So
Has
I'm
there
enjoying
been
it.
like one book or a series of books that kind of like helped you get, because before when we first met, obviously you were new in the industry, but then you quickly started getting a TC and really learning how to catapult your business really. So was there anything was it just the market center and people you were surrounding yourself with, or was there a book that like helped guide that sort of trajectory?
So I think it's a combination for me as an agent when I started doing being a realtor and continue to do it. I just haven't stepped back from that, and training. It's a lot of training. Also, we have a training that's called Bold, and it's amazing. So you get a lot of information, and you feel very good when you do your training with Bold. And also the $1 Million Real Estate Agent. That's, I think, the guidebook at Keller Williams Realty. But more than that, every time you read it or you get to listen to it, you get different nuggets. You understand more
Yeah.
about the market, how to apply that to your current business. And I think that that's a book that it's always near me. I always listen to the audiobook if I have anything that I need to go back and see, okay, how was this back in 1980s compared to now? And definitely one of my go-to books for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I hear it all the time. I have to read this book. I mean, I feel like
It's
everybody
good.
tells me about it, and I'm sure I'll get something out of it. But I think that what you said was so important too. Like every time you listen to it or read it, you're getting something else. And I feel like a lot of people, myself included, like I read a book, I'm like, "Ooh, that was good," and I put it away, and I don't like study it, right? I just kind of like read it, and it's just maybe it's in my brain somewhere. But I think when you find those good books, it's really you should like study it and like revisit it because every moment in time is different and you may absorb something that's different because you're going through something specific.
I did that book. I've done it like maybe 4 or 5 times now. And, every time I go through it, there's always a chapter that you're like, oh, that's what he meant. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So, whether I'm with one company or another, is the information that I get, is the
Yeah.
knowledge, is the power that I get from understanding the transaction, understanding our clients, and making sure that it's always like a win-win, like we know. But it's not just because I'm at Keller Williams. Anybody can have access to
Yeah.
that book.
Right. All right. So again, like kind of talking about your progress at as an agent in the last 10 years. If there was like, if you were like mentoring someone and there was like one piece of advice that you could give them as they're getting their career started, what do you think it would be? Putting you on the spot.
I
By the way, I didn't share any of these questions with Jarvid beforehand, so I'm sorry.
I think that one piece of advice that I would give that new agent, or I would give little Jarvid in the real
Yeah.
estate world, um, would be to know your worth and learn how to leverage. As an agent, sometimes we try to take on so much as a new agent because we want to do it right. We think that if we don't do it right, the client is not liking us or something's going to go wrong. I think that learning how to let go, and trusting the people that you work with is going to allow you more free time to connect with other clients, or maybe just recap with your client with a voice of excitement instead of a voice of annoyance because you're working so much. So leverage.
That is so smart. It's true because I feel like for those who are just innate salespeople who just love, the seeking and catching, right? The people who are like you love that developing of the relationship. You may not like maybe the worst part of your day was when you were having to like, submit things into DocLoop or DocuSign or whatever you have to do, like those types of tasks, and being able to really like say, okay, this is everything I do in a day. What are the things I don't like and what are the things I do like is super powerful because it's also for longevity of being in a career. Because myself included, like I looked at the things that maybe I didn't like and it was super hard to like let go of those things because, I'm type A, with business, I'm like, I want control, but that's huge to be able to like assess and it helped me get to where I am. So I also would totally, for attorneys who are new in business, like similarly, like just assess what you don't like. And if you are a growth mindset person, maybe start leveraging sooner than you think you should.
I think that at the end of the day, we are salespeople, right? We are salespeople and we need to be selling ourselves. If you're in an elevator, you have to sell yourself. If you're in the supermarket, you have to sell yourself. If you're at Home Depot, sell yourself. If you're a paint store, sell yourself, because our business comes from us selling ourselves and attracting those around us so that they can do business with us. So I believe that understanding your worth, your value, which is your currency, will allow you to then have power to leverage, and the business is going to flow in. It's all about allowing the leverage to allow you to have more free time.
Yeah. And talking about that, like when you first started, were you ever like embarrassed to like put yourself out there? Or were you just innately like, oh no, I'll talk to whoever?
No, I was very embarrassed. I remember calling a supermarket. I remember calling the gym and telling them I want to put a table
I was with
in the
you.
gym, in the supermarket.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a giveaway. I want to talk to as many people I can to connect with them to get business. And it was because of that I was able to get one of my first listings and a lot of buyers that you helped me close. And you were with me in some of those events. So I think that I was never shy to put myself out there. Although I would say that, for me, it was easy to capture the client. But then as a new agent, you get afraid. Oh my God, what do I do now? They're
Right.
calling me. They
Right.
really want to do it.
Right.
Where do I get this information? How I do this? So having, again, Keller Williams Realty, in my case, a great team leader, a great co-workers who were there to guide you.
Yeah.
It felt like I had the entire office with me and during that process. So I think that's very important. That was very important for me at that moment.
For sure. That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's what, for some new agents, like it's that, I need, that's that anxiety of doing it. But then, so everyone has their like strengths and weaknesses, obviously. So it was great that you were able to identify, okay, this is not a weakness of mine. I'm going to go talk to whoever. But then you identified your weakness of like, yeah, but then what? And you were able to lean on the people that could help you get to where
Because
you
it's okay to ask for
right.
help. It's okay to not know at all. Every day that every transaction that I have, they're not the same. I
Right.
can, maybe some of the process might be the same. Your clients are not the same. How they take the information is not the same. The property is not the same. So you have different opportunities to learn different things while you go through the process.
Right.
So this career, every day you learn something new, because I've known agents who've been doing it for 30 plus years, and sometimes they feel that it's their first day.
It's true. It absolutely happens. And that's one of those things where it's like, it's just okay to ask questions. And new agents specifically, I always tell them, because they always have that little fear. They're like, oh, I was at a training, I shouldn't ask a question. And that's why I always tell them, like, hey, maybe you feel embarrassed to ask, but you shouldn't. You should still ask your team leaders, your managers, all those people. But if you do have a question, you can always text me too. And sometimes it's nice to have that back of support, that's not like in the office, that can help guide you. So it's important for anybody listening. It's like not just your office. You can reach out to those partners that you have to help as well.
I would say that that's a good point, and to your point that you are one of the best colleagues to work in a transaction. I've had many transactions, and I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? And I always call you, text you. You put yourself available, whether it's a text, an email, and I think that helps with the confidence that we have in whatever particular issues with the transaction. When we hear from the attorney, so it makes us feel like, okay, I think so.
They're
The
my
attorney thinks so.
yeah.
So I think that you're great at that. So thank you for always
No,
picking
for
up my phone
sure.
calls.
Of course. Well, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh God, everywhere. I'm like,
Traveling everywhere, selling
I think that I
everything.
see myself more with a big a big different type of business, because I've been focusing for the past 2 years on investment properties and business and commercial real estate. So I've seen that I've been shifting a little bit towards different things that I've been wanting to tackle or to do for many years, and it's happening. So I think that I'm still gonna be your favorite bilingual realtor, that's for sure. You're always gonna have access to me and my team, for anything, whether it's commercial, residential, investment properties, rental properties. So I see myself growing my business bigger and bigger and bigger, because I do have a great team. I have you, I have Hannah that I love. I have a lot of people at my side. So I see myself growing more than the past 5 years.
Yeah, I love it. I can't wait to see it. And just to end on sort of a little tidbit of your sort of secret sauce. What's your secret to success, if you're willing to share?
I don't think that it's really like a secret. It's just be yourself.
You're
Just
the secret
always.
sauce. It's just
I
you.
think that you just have to, I think, follow up, do what you say that you're gonna do, show up, don't be late, be a source of information, make sure that you come from contribution. Don't try to sell, try to let them know why they need this. I think that understanding and listening goes a long way, and then just your magic cell, just sprinkle a little bit of Jarvid on top of it, and you
Yes,
should be
I
fine.
love it. I need a jar of Jarvid. I need Well, thank you, Jarvid. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for taking some time with me today. And if you have any questions, I'm going to link Jarvid's profile on this video. And I appreciate you, Jarvid.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you so much for the
Yeah,
time. Love you. And thank you, everybody who's watching. And don't forget about George Washington.
George Washington, the man. I appreciate
Cheers,
it.
sis.
Bye.
Bye.